Good morning guys from Birmingham, sunny Birmingham, and today I am taking a trip up to Liverpool, but no, I'm not going on the train, that would be far too easy, wouldn't it? And I'm catching a coach, and it's a coach run by the operator known as Flixbus, and I've never been with them before. I'm not really sure what I'm going to find, but that's the point of doing these trips, isn't it? So I believe it's just down the street there, and there's a bus stop, and that's where I'm going to catch it from. It's going to take just under 3 hours apparently, so why don't you come with me for the ride and I'll see you on the bus. Cheers for now. Using the Flixbus app, I'd bought a single ticket online a few days before for the very reasonable price of £3.99, and for the purposes of this review I'd also booked a specific seat 2A, which was an extra 99p, and I'd also reserved the seat next to it, which was an extra £1. Now, all in all, including the booking fee, the total cost for this journey was £6.98. Right, I'm not sure if this is the most salubrious part of Birmingham, but apparently the bus stop is down here. I think it's just under that bridge there. So, but I'm going to sort of stand here and wait for the coach, I suppose, if it turns up. Yeah, so this was actually the bus stop, identifiable only by the fact that somebody decided to put a little Flixbus sticker on the sign. After a few minutes, some other people started to gather who I assumed were waiting for the same bus, and about 10 minutes prior to departure, instead of the iconic lime green coach I was expecting, a white Mercedes Turismo coach turned up, which appeared to be owned by a company called Ridley's. And yeah, this was in fact the Flixbus series to Liverpool. I'm not sure where it had come from, but quite a few people got off here and quite a few stayed on. Now, the first issue was that there was no reserved seating on the coach, and guess what? Somebody was actually sitting in my seat. Now, I wouldn't mind this normally, but as I just explained, Flixbus had charged me extra to make a seat reservation and hold the empty adjacent seat. So, not a good start, to be honest, and obviously this part of the ticket was a complete waste of money. There was a change of driver here, and after putting in their earpods, they started up the coach and we left, passing a proper Flixbus coach, which was heading up to Leeds, incidentally. This looked much nicer, I think, and I kind of wished I was getting on that really instead of this service. Anyway, I thought I'd sit in the front row, so at least I could get some decent views of the road ahead. The journey today would take us out of Birmingham on the National Expressway to join the world's biggest car park of the M6, where we only had to make one emergency stop before turning off onto the M54, heading across country to Chester and then ultimately Liverpool. Now, this seemed a bit of an odd route to me, although when I did check it on Google Maps, it was actually the quickest way there. I guess the issue is having to call it Chester, but otherwise it would be a much more direct and faster journey, the M6. There was a toilet occupied indicator at the front of the coach, which was good, and at an appropriate moment I made my way past all the weary and maskless travellers slumped in their seats until I came to the washroom, which was located about halfway down the coach. It was really tight, to be honest, but I did manage to squeeze myself in and turn around. Unfortunately, there was no soap in the dispenser, but there was running cold water once I'd managed to find the switch for it. The auto hand dryer didn't work, and there were no paper towels provided. And maybe they'd run out by that point, but that's not really an excuse, is it? There was a hole next to the sink for rubbish, although for some reason the coach company had decided to Velcro attach an additional bin type thing on the sink worktop. I had to resort to using some toilet roll to dry my hands, which was on a toilet roll holder that wasn't actually attached to anything. Now, overall, I found the toilet to be in an unacceptable condition, in my opinion. Anyway, with that drama over and done with, I returned to my seat. And you can see here there is a useful pouch type thing in front of you for putting a limited amount of stuff in, food and drink for me. Now, down the side of the seat was absolutely disgusting. You could tell this area hadn't been cleaned for some time, and again, this is totally unacceptable, especially at the moment. There was also a recline lever here, which works, but to be honest, I was a bit reluctant to touch it too much. The legroom was okay in the front row, I guess. I'm not sure what it was like behind me. Apparently there was USB connectivity available at all seats, but because I was in the front row, there was no provision for me. Fortunately, I had my trusty battery pack with me again. The windows were large and bright, with tied back curtains if you needed them at night or when the sun's too bright. Incorporated into the rather tight overhead storage racks were individual air vents, reading lights, a stop button and, rather optimistically I thought, a drinks call button. The seats themselves were pretty basic, I thought. I'd be interested to know whether you think this is a proper headrest or not, because it just seems a little bit low for me, really. Let me know in the comments below what you think. The 3-point seat belts were available, and the driver advised everyone to wear theirs, though not many people bothered, to be honest. There were a number of TVs on the coach, though none of them were switched on. But in any case, the driver decided we'd like to listen to an eclectic mix of Capital Radio and a Radio 4 report on assisted dying. And hopefully this wasn't a premonition of what lay in store for us further down the road. I tried out the Wi-Fi, which I wasn't really expected to work, to be honest, but after a confusing start it did stir into life. And not good enough for videos or anything like that, but social media seemed to load okay, as did email. We arrived at Chester Bus Interchange at about 2 o'clock, which was spot on really. I didn't realise we were stopping here before the journey, but nevertheless that's where we ended up, and it would go some way to explaining why the journey actually took 3 hours, wouldn't it? 6 lucky people got off here, and for them the trip was over. Nobody got on, to be honest. I'm not even sure if they could. It may well have been a drop-off only stop. Let me know if you do know in the comments below. We promptly left Chester and made our way towards Liverpool along the M53, accompanied this time by the shrieking oral nuisance of Adele and her ilk on the dreadful Capital Radio. Our route took us through one of the Mersey tunnels, Kingsway, and this was probably the highlight of the trip for me. I love going through the Mersey tunnels, and when you emerge on the other side you arrive in what for me really is one of the greatest cities in the world. Unfortunately, after driving around the city centre for a bit, it became apparent that the driver wasn't sure where the bus station was, and they had to ask the other passengers if anybody knew the way. Well, we didn't, so the driver then stopped and asked another bus driver for directions. Mercifully, we finally arrived, and to be fair, we were still a little bit early. It was a rather gloomy day on Merseyside, which sums it up really, doesn't it? Anyway, we disembarked, and after pausing to glance back at my chariot of fun, I made my way along Strand Street towards James Street, the Merseyrail station, and then onwards towards home. Oh well, I've finally made it to Liverpool. It's raining a little bit, but that's okay. We actually got into the bus station early, despite the fact that the bus driver had to get off at one point in the city centre to ask another bus driver where the bus station was. Yeah, that's the sort of thing that's been typical of this journey in a way. Would I do it again? Maybe. All said and done, for £3.99, or probably cheaper if you book it a bit more in advance. It's not bad compared to the train, and you just got to sit on the coach and kind of get on with it, really, I suppose. And so for most people, it's great value for money. I prefer National Express, but you can try anything once, and that's what I did. So thanks for watching. I shall see you on another video soon, and as always, guys, cheers for now.